All right, today we're diving into the really fascinating story of Samuel John Allery. He was a man who literally stitched together an incredible fortune, not just with thread, but with bricks and mortar too. So this is the man himself, Samuel John Allery, a master tailor from Peckham in London. Now his story isn't just about making fancy suits, it's about building an entire dynasty. I mean, just look at him. He absolutely looks like a man who knew his business, doesn't he? And what a business it was. Get this, when Samuel passed away back in 1922, he left an estate worth almost £10,000. Now that was a staggering amount of money back then. So you have to ask, how on earth did a tailor from South London manage to build up that kind of wealth?
Well, to really understand the fortune, first, we've got to understand the man. We need to go right back to the beginning to see how his life was pieced together, from family, from his craft, and just a whole lot of ambition.
You see, for Samuel, his path was kind of already laid out for him. He was born in Devon, and his family was a union of two really well-established tailoring families, the Allerys and the Newths. So that whole long journey, from apprentice to journeyman, and then finally becoming a master tailor, that wasn't just a career he chose, it was his birthright. The craft was literally in his blood.
And his personal life, it was just as full as his professional one. He married twice, and between his two wives, he ended up having 13 children. Yeah, 13. If that's not a reason to be driven to succeed, I don't know what is.
But that drive, it wasn't just limited to his tailor shop. Samuel was actually weaving a completely different, much bigger pattern for his family's future, and it involved a lot more than just the needle and thread. This quote really just sums it all up. He had this kind of dual identity. He wasn't just a master of cloth. He became a master of property. So while everyone in town knew him as the head of this tailoring dynasty, he was quietly on the side building up this massive real estate portfolio all across London. And this is where the picture gets really clear. On one hand, you've got the respected master tailor of Peckham. On the other, you've got the super savvy landlord of over 20 properties. There are these great family stories about his uncle helping him collect the rents, and about Samuel taking his nephew down to the local penny bazaar to spend his pocket money. It just paints this picture of a guy who was deeply involved with his family and community, all while managing this incredibly complex business empire. So, with all this wealth from two totally different ventures, how did Samuel make sure his legacy would actually survive? Well, it all came down to his final will. And just look at the careful planning here. This wasn't just about leaving behind a big pile of cash. Nope, this was a portfolio of assets. His son Henry got 4 properties. His daughter Rosina got another 4. His grandchildren, from a son who had sadly passed away, they got a nice cash sum to split. And of course, his wife Jemima was guaranteed an income for the rest of her life. He literally used his property empire as the foundation for his family's security, for generations to come. But you know, legacies are fascinating things, aren't they? They don't always unfold exactly how you'd expect. And over time, the Allery family's story, well, it took a pretty surprising turn. And here's the big contrast. Samuel basically built 2 legacies. The first one, the tailoring craft that had been passed down for generations, well, that one ended. It stopped with his grandson Cecil, who decided to become an RAF mechanic instead. But that second legacy, the one built on brick and mortar, that one endured. It kept providing for his family long after the last Allery suit was ever stitched. And that leaves us with this final thought. Samuel Allery was smart enough to translate the money from his family's craft into a more modern, durable kind of wealth. But in doing that, the original craft itself was eventually left behind. It really makes you wonder, what is the true measure of a legacy? Is it the skill you pass down, or is it the security you provide? And what does it really mean when a family tradition, maybe one that's centuries old, finally comes to an end?